start, and then they stop them all of a sudden.
Hey Dave, why don't you check the YouTube page and tell me when we go live, because you'll see before I will.
Well, fine, motherfucker. Always dig.
Don't you fine motherfucker me.
Go check.
Oh, it looks like we're going to be live.
It looks like we're live. Yep, we are.
Live now?
Yep.
Perfect.
Reporter asks the president the question, and then
there you go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Scripts Gone Wild. This is our second virtual read from the comforts of our self-quarantine containment zones. And we've got folks from, let's see, we've got California represented. We've got Chattanooga, Tennessee represented. We've got New York represented. And I think that's it for this.
Boston.
I got you. Don't worry.
And so I'm Billy Ray Brewton, and with me forever is my co-host, the Jean-Benet Ramsey of Los Angeles, Dave Lawson.
I don't know exactly how to take that, but I'm going to allow it.
Thank you. And we've got our wonderful readers, and I'm going to introduce them. We got Mr. Drew McWeeny.
Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you.
We got Mr. Ryan Lambert. Woo! We got Kimmy Shields.
Cheers.
We got Graham Skipper.
Yep.
We got Chris Devlin.
Yo.
We got Alex Marshall Brown.
Hey, everybody.
Izzy Lee.
Cheers.
Conor Murphy.
Cheers.
Chris Dortch.
yes, sir.
Nora Nagatani.
Cheers.
And that's it. That's everybody right now. Just for the next 5 seconds, all at once. Tell me, how's everybody doing?
Excellent. No, I think it's kind of a little bit
really good. I'm just
Feeling a little insane.
It's going great, though. I think that everything's wonderful.
It went exactly how it needed to go. So if this is your first time checking out a Scripts Gone Wild read, and we hope it is, it's a drinking game. So we're going to be reading a script, and that script is Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason lives. And whenever anyone flubs a line, misses a cue, or does anything that we can construe as a mistake, they have to take a drink. And we let the audience vote on what we call... Yeah, Dave with the soundboard. Yeah, Dave is going to play a lot of sound effects tonight. Let's give a shout out to Shane Brady and Aaron LaPlante, who recorded a good deal of those.
Also Gigi Guerrero's mom.
Yes, Gigi Guerrero's mom. And they all did a wonderful job with the soundboard. So the social words that we had our audience on Twitter choose are going to be camp and Jason. So anytime someone... Now, let me specify this. Those words have to be spoken by a reader. It doesn't count if I say it in the stage direction, because then everybody would have alcohol poisoning. So if a reader says either camp, everybody has to drink. And there is a line that once we get to that line in the script, everybody has to finish whatever is in their hand.
Oh, God.
So if it's a couple sips, good on you. If you just popped open a beer, I'm really fucking sorry, guys. That line is going to be delivered by Mr. Graham Skipper, and it is... Wherever the red dot goes, you bang.
You bang.
You bang. Maybe not the most remembered line in the film, but it's certainly my favorite.
This is reminding me, Billy Ray, of when I was in college and I was in a production of Dead Man Walking, and my line was Dead Man Walking. It was my only line in the show, and I was terrified of messing it up. So there's a lot of weight on my shoulders tonight.
Did you mess it up? Because I bet you did.
I did not mess it up, but when Tim Robbins came and saw the show, which he did, afterwards he came up to me and said, "Bet you were scared you were going to mess that line up, huh?"
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
That's fun. Way to name drop.
We are raising
wow, Dave.
We are raising money for a charity tonight. Doctors Without Borders. Dave, hit it.
Hold on, calm down. I wasn't ready. I was too busy slamming
Drink, Dave.
Drink.
It's just a white screen, Dave.
Well, it didn't work then. I guess I got to redo it.
Well, Dave's going to have to redo it. Doctors Without Borders is our charity. So we encourage you, please go check their website out and donate some money because they're doing some awesome work right now. And they need all the support that they can get. And I believe it's doctorswithoutborders.org.
Instead of that, I'm going to throw it up in the chat.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Dave. Throw it up in the chat.
Yeah, that's
And before we get started, I'm gonna pimp out our read coming up next week, next Wednesday, same time. We're doing a tribute to Stuart Gordon. with a reading of From Beyond. Graham is also going to be in that one. We've also got Barbara Crampton, who was in, tons of Stewart's films, Jonathan Fuller from Castle Freak, Chris McKenna from King of the Ants, Gigi Guerrero, and Jesse Merlin will be reading the stage directions. He will be taking over my job for that read.
I can't believe that Barbara Crampton's going to be in. I'm so excited. I love her.
Yeah,
and reprising her role, correct, Billy Ray?
Yes, she is playing her role from the film.
Amazing.
So that's really exciting. So before we get started in the read, we actually have a special surprise. Mr. Tom McLaughlin, who directed Jason Lives and also directed an underrated little flick I love called Sometimes They Come Back, could not be with us tonight.
He also wrote it too, didn't he?
Yes, he also wrote it. So we're reading his words tonight. And you'll hear a little bit of how he wrote it in the video. He recorded a video. He's teaching tonight and couldn't join us. So I'm going to do the whole screen share thing right now. And we're going to play this video. So here we go. Computer share sound.
Oh, I really hope. Oh, man.
Okay, script's gone wild. What a fucking great concept. I really wanted to be there with you guys. This is Tom McLaughlin, for those of you that don't know. I really wanted to be there tonight. And unfortunately, class out at Chapman University, Dodge College, on Wednesday nights, and have to do it online these days. And I have to be responsible, unfortunately. And if it wasn't for that, I would be there 1,000%. I would love to hear the script read. I've never heard it read. We didn't even have the actors do a read through on it. So, have a lot of fun. I mean, I wrote it in, so the dark humor is in there. And the best thing I can say about the whole experience is here we are, something like 36 years later, and this movie's still playing, and people are still discovering it, which is mind-blowing to, an old guy like me. So have a lot of fun.
There we go.
And I will hopefully see you at some point down the line.
What a cool dude.
Yeah.
What was missed in that? I don't know if it was skipping on everybody else's or just mine. He wrote this in a cemetery. Which is pretty badass to just think about him just sitting there with a notepad in the middle of a cemetery.
And if that video did skip for anybody, I'll upload. It'll be better on the live read or on the live stream once you watch it later.
Awesome.
So I think it's time we dive into this goddamn thing.
Let's start drinking.
Okay, so I'm gonna kick the sucker off. Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason Lives.
Rock and roll.
Woo! Fade in, a night sky. Ominous black clouds roll across the heavens. Thunder begins to rumble within the clouds. An unsettling feeling of approaching danger. Deep shadowed woods. A quiet breeze rustles some dry leaves. Noisy ass crickets. A very mangy wild fog feeds on what was once a rabbit. Oh, well, that's a dog, not fog. That dog feeds on a rabbit run over in the road. Roaring around the bend comes an old Ford pickup. The terrified canine runs for its life. Tied on a hockey mask, we stare down on Jason's empty mask held in a young man's hands.
I don't know how the hell you talked me into this, Jarvis.
Sitting in the passenger seat examining the mask is Alan Hawes. He is a rather unusual looking guy, played by Horseshack from Welcome Back, Kotter. He nervously smokes a cigar.
Hell, I must be crazy. If the institution ever found out about this, boy, they'd throw our butts back in that straitjacket and permanent.
You didn't have to come, Hawes.
Tommy Jarvis is a good-looking young man in his late teens. He drives like a bat out of hell, wearing a very intense expression of determination.
This is between me and Jason.
Drink.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know, but I still don't get the therapy here. Jason's dead, right?
Yeah,
How
drink.
does seeing his corpse stop your hallucinations?
Seeing it won't, but destroying him once and for all will. Jason belongs in hell.
We're gonna be drunk today, guys. Yeah.
And I'm going to see he gets there.
Hawes stares wide-eyed at Tommy. He then turns to look out the back window. Hawes looks in the back of the truck. There's a huge can of gasoline, a crowbar, and 2 shovels. Thunder begins to rumble lower. Cemetery, night. We follow Tommy and his flashlight as he searches. Hawes follows. Tommy's eyes squint to read each tombstone, looking for the one. Lightning flashes. Getting frustrated, but far from giving up, Tommy moves to the new row of markers. Suddenly, he freezes. Jason's grave. It says Jason Voorhees at rest. As he stares, a deep terror chills his bones. Something else then catches his eye, an angle on another grave. Close to Jason's marker, we see it reads, Pamela Voorhees, beloved mother. Returning his attention to Jason's grave, Tommy points, this is the one, to Hawes. Putting down the other items, the boys take hold of the shovels. Tommy raises up his first. The shovel plunges into the ground. They begin to exhume the legendary killer's body. Tommy works feverishly. Hawes works nervously. Basically, they just dig his ass up. Lightning and shit. They dig his ass up. They open the coffin. There he is. Tommy's hearing his horrid memories. His sister screams, "No, Tommy, no!" While 10-year-old Tommy, played by Corey Feldman, repeats, "Die, die, die, die." Tommy looks around vengefully. Seeing an old fence a few yards away, he heads for it. Hawes is confused by his actions.
Hey, where are you going?
Without a word, he storms over to the rusty fence and he grabs one of the spear-like posts. He just starts shoving that shit into Jason.
Oh, what's that for? Tommy, what are you doing, boy?
Shove, shove, shove.
You bastard!
As he lands in the grave, Tommy keeps plunging that goddamn spear with a mighty force. It penetrates deep in Jason's chest. Hawes is dumbfounded.
Oh, shit.
Tommy withdraws it, then angrily rams it down. He's just doing a lot of it. The force of the blows causes many of the numerous maggots to start dropping off his face. On Tommy's face, he's exhausted, his rage finally vented. He drives the spear into Jason for the last time. Over the boy's shoulder, we see the long spear extending out of Jason's cold heart. Recovering from his tantrum, Tommy climbs out of the grave and Hawes stares open-mouthed.
Boy, he must have really messed you over.
Tommy reaches down, picks up Jason's hockey mask, and stares at it. It seems to stare back evilly at him.
Yeah. Fuck you, Jason.
It takes the drink or else it gets the hose again.
Tommy, knowing the nightmare is finally... tosses the mask into the grave. He then bends down and starts to uncap the gas can. Without warning, the sky explodes with a mass of lightning. One of the bolts of electricity is drawn to the spear as a lightning rod. Sparks fly as the spear is struck and electrified. Tommy and Hawes dive for cover. Tight on Jason's face, his decomposed eyelids flash open. Uncovering their heads, they look skyward in fear. Quickly, Tommy gets to his feet and goes for the troublesome spear. The unattended lightning rod is still smoking a little from the blast. He touches it. It's hot. He pulls out a pair of gloves from his jacket. Putting them on, he attempts to remove it. He can't get it. So Tommy jumps down in Jason's grave. He struggles to pull it out. It's apparently driven in the bottom of the coffin as well.
Let's just get the hell out of here. My heart can't take any more of this.
Jason is staring at Tommy. The boy, of course, does not see what's about to occur. He finally yanks the spear out and throws it up onto the grass. Slowly, he removes his gloves and tosses them to Hawes. He starts to climb out, but Jason springs up from behind and grabs his ass. Hawes is screaming, hysterical.
Ah!
Tommy fights for his life as Jason tries to pull him down. Tommy scrambles for the gas can. Storm crowds everywhere. Well, of course, it's storming. We get that. The gas splashes all over him as he keeps coming. He's throwing it on Jason. Gas, gas, gas. He backs up as Jason stalks him. Knowing there's enough gas now on his predator, he drops the can. He's coming closer. Panicking, he searches his pockets for the matches, and he finds them, and he pulls them out and starts to light them. Wouldn't you know, it starts to rain. And the rain quenches the match. He can't throw the match on Jason. That's when Hawes comes running up behind with a shovel and smashes it over Jason's head. That seems like a smart idea. So Jason turns around and does a big old Kali Ma on his ass and pulls out his heart.
Ah!
At this point, Tommy knows he's pretty much in for some shit now. So Tommy runs to his pickup truck, gets the hell out of there, just tears out. And that is when Jason goes back, retrieves his hockey mask, puts that hockey mask on, turns to face the camera, and does a whole James Bond 007 action. And that's when we get to the opening credits. Jason lives.
Oh, I love their opens.
Woo!
I love their opens so much.
And sheriff's office. Tommy screeches up and runs into the sheriff's office, and there behind the desk is Sheriff Michael Garris, named after Mick Garris. He's a hard-ass Vietnam vet, but 43, has seen enough trouble and don't want no more. That's why I took this job a few years back. Having just nodded off, Tommy's entrance startles him. He leaps to his feet, gun drawn with lightning speed. Shocked by the sheriff's sudden aggression, Tommy instantly throws up his hands.
Don't shoot!
He relaxes.
Please!
But he's still pissed off as he holsters his gun.
You in show business, kid? You sure know how to make an entrance.
The hyperboy rushes toward the sheriff.
You gotta do something. Jason's alive. He killed my friend. Now he's coming for me.
Jason is coming. Gripping the spear behind him, he heads towards.
You better cool out a minute, boy. You already almost got your head blown to pieces.
Will you listen to me, damn it?
Don't piss me off, Junior. I will repaint this office with your brains.
Ouch. Tommy tries to control his emotions and sound rational.
Jason is alive. We dug up his body. I was going to cremate it and then he...
Hold it. Whoa. What's your name, son?
Tommy Jarvis. We got to do something. He's even more powerful now than he was then.
Aren't you the kid whose mother and friends were...
Yeah. Jason murdered them.
And you've been in some psychiatric clinic ever since, haven't you?
Hold on.
Look how nonchalant he is. Yeah, Jason murdered him.
Yep.
He's trying to get past that. We're talking about the here and now. Yeah, but they released me because...
The door behind him bursts open.
Rain stopped. You owe me that 5-spot, partner.
Deputy Rick Cologne hurries in with an armload of fast food. Dark, mid-30s, and a little on the short side. He is surprised to see someone here this late.
Sorry, I didn't.
No problem, Rick. Just come over here and meet a former resident here, Tommy Jarvis. He's got some kind of prank going about...
There's no time for this bullshit.
Tommy bolts across the office and grabs one of the rifles from the rack.
Jason's got to be stopped.
Both lawmen drive for the crazy kid. Their food flies as they struggle to get the rifle away from the strong Ute. Finally, the deputy pins Tommy's arms from behind. The sheriff yanks the rifle away.
Now that's what's known in the books as screwing the pooch. Iron this punk.
Tommy fights to get away from the deputy, who throws him into the cell. The iron bars are slammed shut.
No, you gotta listen. Jason's coming here. He's after me. I tried to destroy him, but I fucked up.
You got that right. Now you listen up. I'm sorry for what happened to you and your folks years ago, but no one in Forest Green wants to be reminded of what that maniac did here. That's why they changed the name to Forest Green. People want to forget this was once Crystal Lake, and they don't need some kid stirring up Jason shit again.
Tommy paces the cell in wild frustration.
Why didn't you cremate him?
Why? They were gonna, but some asshole sent a lot of money to give Jason and his mother a decent burial. Now look, you just lie down and get some rest. In the morning, I'll call that clinic and see if they...
Tommy grabs the bars and pleads with them.
If you just go to the cemetery, you'll see that I'm not lying.
Either you go to sleep or I'm going to come in there and put you out.
You're going to be sorry you didn't listen to me.
You're going to be sorry if you don't shut the fuck up.
This is some good cemetery writing. This is good.
Funky VW bug bounces along a narrow, muddy road. Laughter is heard from within. A likable couple in their mid-20s are obviously lost. Lisbeth, who is actually Tom McLaughlin's wife, or was, drives and giggles, slap happy from the long trip and late hour. Her boyfriend, Darren, played by Ghost's Tony Goldwyn, struggles to read the map in the dim car light. A huge pothole causes him to bang his head on the roof.
Will you slow down? It's hard enough to read this thing.
Well, who told me to take this cow path?
You admit the sign did say Camp Forest Green.
Camp
Green. Oh, God damn it.
It's gonna be bad, guys. This is a pretty bad day.
You love it.
I'd say Thursday is gonna be bad, but nobody knows what day it is. So tomorrow.
I admit nothing without talking to my lawyer.
So much for the head counselors ever finding the camp on their own. I say we stop the car, get out, screaming for help.
The car comes to a grinding halt.
I was just kidding, Elizabeth.
He looks at his girlfriend, who is staring fearfully out the windshield. Darren turns to look. Standing in the middle of the road, illuminated by the headlights, it's Jason. He holds the deadly spear before him. The couple, needless to say, Lisbeth is becoming more afraid.
Darren, we better turn around.
Why?
Why? Because I've seen enough horror movies to know masked weirdos are never friendly.
She starts to back up. Darren looks behind him, then grabs the wheel.
Wait!
The car tire almost rolls off the narrow road into a water-filled gully. Darren stares intensely at Lisbeth.
There's no way we can do this. If the car drops into that gully, we'll never get it out.
Jason just stands his ground. He ain't backing down. Lisbeth keeps her eye on the evil-looking stranger.
Do you have any alternate suggestions?
Darren bites his lip nervously.
Yeah, we're gonna scare him.
We're gonna scare him?
Darren attempts to pump up a macho attitude.
Look, that's right. Just drive toward him. He'll move. Nobody wants to die.
That's like in fact, least of all us.
Just drive. He'll get out of the way.
Elizabeth shakes her head, not believing she's actually going to do this. She stamps her foot down on the accelerator, and we race towards Jason, who doesn't budge. Her foot slams on the brakes. The car skids to a stop inches from the stock still killer. Elizabeth turns to her now less than confident boyfriend.
Yeah, that really scared the shit out of him.
He gets pissed. He leans over and blasts the horn. And Jason leaves and the movie's over.
Oh,
not really. Jason gets pissed too. He swings the spear and smashes out a headlight.
Oh, geez.
That's it. We're driving this baby back to town. In reverse.
Darren, now angered, grabs her hand as she starts to shift.
The hell we are.
Darren opens the glove compartment and pulls out a .22 revolver. Elizabeth stares at the gun, then at Darren in shock.
Where'd you get that?
Darren gets out of the car. He's scared shitless, but tries now not to show it.
Don't worry about it. Just stay cool.
Stay cool? You ain't Dirty Harry. Now stop.
Jason watches Darren's every move. With great apprehension, he heads towards Jason, holding the gun out with both hands. He clears his nervous throat.
All right, scumbag, get out of the road.
From over Jason's shoulder, we see Darren cock the trigger.
Now!
Instantly, Jason rams the spear into the other headlight. He is now a very dark figure in front of the car.
Darren!
Oh, Elizabeth screams and shouts to her boyfriend.
Darren, get in here right now. He'll kill you.
Darren is a bit cocky, knowing he's the one with the gun. He glances back at his girl. Jason suddenly charges him. Darren fires, but the bullet either misses or it just doesn't affect Jason. He thrusts the spear forward and drives it right through Darren's stomach and out his back. Effortlessly, he lifts up the impaled boy and tosses his limp body aside. And that means we need a new programmer for the Chattanooga Film Festival.
Oh,
We need
Jason then turns his murderous gaze on Lisbeth. Lisbeth quickly tries to drive away. Seeing something coming, she dives across the other seat. Jason's spear smashes through the windshield and impales itself onto the driver's seat. The terrified girl crawls out of the open passenger door. She falls into the muddy and water-filled gully alongside the road. He withdraws his weapon from the car and heads for his victim. Elizabeth struggles to stand. She slips, badly twisting or breaking her ankle. Looking back quickly, she is horrified. With the spear poised, he's coming. Knowing it's hopeless to run, she tries a last-ditch effort to barter for her life. Lying in the muddy water, Elizabeth digs into her jacket. She pulls out her wallet, her wallet, her money and credit cards.
Don't kill me, please. You can have these.
She looks up and offers her valuables, but Jason is gone. She is amazed. Where did he go? What's the difference? She's safe. Wrong. As she looks behind her, Jason's feet slam down in the water next to her head. She opens her mouth to scream. He raises the spear and rams it down towards her face. A spine-chilling crunch is heard. Jason stands over his victim. Her body floats on the filthy water, but her head is down underneath. Blood begins to bubble up around the extended spear. A lifeless hand releases the money and credit cards it was clutching, and we follow the floating American Express card along the now bloody stream. Remember, leave home without it. Thank you for that one, Tom. Sheriff's office. Tommy's asleep on the cot in his cell. Suddenly, the loud sounds of the door opening and young voices startle him awake. Entering from the bright sunshine are the sheriff and 4 kids in their late teens. Teasing, holding onto the arm of her sheriff father, is Megan. She is a cute and feisty 18-year-old. Her 3 friends, Paul, a warm and personable girl with a short new wave haircut. Sissy is a black, sexy, and very boy crazy. And Court, with his long hair and heavy metal t-shirt, is always ready to rock.
Come on, Dad. You could have Rick drive down Cunningham Road and look for them.
Megan, my deputies have more important things to do than look for camp counselors with car trouble.
Camp.
Sheriff, couldn't you put out an all points bulletin for them? That would be really wicked decent.
The sheriff shoots him a look.
It's just that Darren and Elizabeth are in charge of organizing and setting up the new campgrounds.
Great.
All the little kids arrived today. We're not ready to deal with that alone.
The sheriff sits down behind his desk and picks up the phone.
I sympathize with you kids. The best I can do is call the station in Carpenter and have them keep a lookout for them.
Got a bad feeling about what might have. Oh, fuck me. No, keep going. Let me do that again. I got a bad feeling of what might have happened to them.
Everybody turns to look. Tommy is gripping the cell bars. His eyes connect with Megan.
You've got to convince the sheriff to look for your friends. Hopefully, they're fine. But there's a very good chance that Jason...
Shut up.
The sheriff jumps up angrily.
Shut up.
Megan, attracted to the good-looking prisoner, walks towards his cell.
Jason who?
Drink. Jesus, sorry guys. I'm fucking up the soundboard today.
Horrible.
Too many beers in.
Megan, get away from him. He's dangerous.
Megan stops a few feet from the cell.
I'm not dangerous. Believe me. Jason is out there. He's looking for me. But there's every possibility he'll return to the camp where it all started. God damn it. That's 2.
The sheriff stomps over towards Tommy.
Stop saying those words. I told you to shut.
You mean Jason?
You
oh my
mean
God.
the Jason of Camp Blood? Double up.
Yes.
Twitter's trying to kill us with these words.
I'm hammered, and we're 20 pages in.
Oh my God.
You kids better leave. This boy here is not well, and I need to talk to him in private.
But Dad, we...
Megan, take your friends back to the camp. I'll let you know if I hear anything about your counselors.
She wants to argue, but the look in her father's eye tells her she'd better be cool. She takes one look at Tommy as she approaches her father.
Don't beat him up too bad. He's kind of cute.
This really steams the sheriff.
Megan, leave.
Back to the kids as they stumble out awkwardly as Megan struts away with a cool Lauren Bacall swagger. The door is closed. The steely-eyed sheriff leans in close to Tommy's face.
I was going to call the clinic and have them collect your ass, but I don't want you around here any longer, poisoning my daughter or anyone else with your warped mind.
But they have to be warned, Sheriff. Jason will return to the area that's a familiar. No matter what you call it, it's still Camp Crystal Lake to him.
So have a sippy of your drinking.
Sheriff Garris walks away, not listening to Tommy. He straps on his holster and puts on his coat.
We're going to escort you in that shit pile pickup of yours to the edge of my jurisdiction. Then we'll say goodbye, and we'll never see your deranged butt around here again. Right?
Tommy pushes off the bars in frustration and paces the stell like a caged animal. Now we're in the forest, a large clump of thick brushes. Someone's moving behind them. We track along, following the rustles. It stops. We hold and wait. Suddenly, the bushes part. A bespectacled little man in army fatigues and camouflage makeup pokes his head out at us. Roy, wearing protective goggles, looks right, left, then hides back in the brush. We follow 2 other businessmen. decked out in green jungle fatigues, looking like they're out-of-shape Rambos. Stan and Larry are both carrying handguns, watching for any movement around them, and they, too, wear goggles.
Once we nail Roy, that's it. Victory is ours.
This is forever. I'm starving.
What's your problem, Larry? That's why your sales are always below quota. Your instinct to eat is stronger than your instinct to win.
My ass.
Yeah, that's fat too.
Oh, burn. He watches motionlessly Jason watches motionlessly as the two arguing men pass. They, of course, don't see him.
You become a whole other person when you're out here, Stan, and I don't like it.
Because this is a man's game requiring a man's cunning and intelligence.
Suddenly, a figure explodes out of the brush. They react in terror. A goggle-wearing woman, also in army fatigues, has a revolver pointed at them. Katie fires at them. Both guys are splattered by red paint pellets. Boy, are they pissed. Katie grins triumphantly.
A woman's touch.
Now you wait a second. I thought Bert shot you.
See any paint? Sorry, guys. I did in Mr. Commando. Survival in the name of the game. That flag is mine.
As they walk away, Larry looks at his paint-smeared chest.
Never should have let her play.
It's a damn company executive game, and she's a damn company exec.
Now, boys. Don't be spoil sports.
Jason silently watches. He then heads for them. At Camp Forest Green, the freshly painted and beautifully renovated cabin retreat gleams in the bright sunlight. Even the lake itself shimmers tranquilly, free of any memories of its horrid past. Megan, Court, Paula, and Sissy carry food supplies from their car to the cabin.
I'm getting worried.
Oh, Jason?
No, about Darren and Elizabeth. They should have at least called. Don't you think, Megan? Megan?
Megan's mind is definitely on something or someone else.
Huh? Yeah, what?
Guys, we're going to take just a quick second because it's like 8 o'clock and everybody's cheering for the medical professionals. So why don't we just do that for a second?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yay! Yay, doctors!
Yay, doctors!
Save us!
Yay, doctors! Okay.
Okay.
We now return to your regularly scheduled programming.
This girl's back in the cell with her prisoner of love.
Megan hits her playfully.
What's it to you?
Oh no, don't be playing with no crazy jailbreak. Nah, those dudes are bad news.
Yeah, how would you know?
How would I know? I've been around long enough to see plenty on TV.
Everybody laughs or groans at Sissy.
I don't know, Megan. He seemed pretty weird with all that Jason stuff.
T-R-I-N-K stuff.
Yeah, he was really into it.
Maybe he was telling the truth.
Everyone stops and stares at her in disbelief.
Just because our parents keep telling us that Jason was only a legend doesn't mean it wasn't true.
Oh, God.
What if Jason did come back here? And you know what today's date is, don't you?
Each of their faces register a different expression, wondering if Megan is serious or not. Megan looks past them at something, then smiles.
I can think of only one thing even more terrifying.
What?
She points behind them and they turn to look and see a big yellow bus pulling up. The doors fly open and a group of screaming youngsters pile out. The counselors stare in dread. How are they going to handle this? Their only job.
I think I'd rather deal with old Jason.
Forrest, a machete is seen. We follow the deadly weapon as it's carried through the woods. Bert, a real Rambo commando clone in paint splatter fatigues, whacks angrily at the bushes. Of all the would-be hunters, he looks like he takes the game almost too seriously. He wears a commando belt. Basically, he's dressed like Rambo. We get it. And in the movie, he's saying some really sexist stuff. Yeah, he didn't like women too much, this guy. And then that's when Jason reaches out, grabs his hand as hacking, and then rips it off. And then slams him into a tree, and we see a smiley face. I think I did that justice.
I think you did great.
Thanks for the summary.
But I love the smiley face. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Now we're in the cemetery. Martin, the crusty old caretaker, stares down in utter horror. His bloodshot, alcoholic old man eyes widen at what they see.
Oh, shit.
He stands over Jason's dug-up grave, cursing at what has happened. Taking out a pot of whiskey from his coat. Here's at you, Martin. He takes a strong slug and winces. With hangover equilibrium, he paces, nervous and afraid.
Oh, why me? I know he's going to blame me for this.
Martin looks around quickly. He decides to cover up the open grave. He starts throwing all the evidence into the hole, then grabbing the shovel and begins filling it in.
Damn. Why, Jason? Mothers could have had their pick.
You fuckers!
Any of these other graves.
Shovels loads of dirt, shitloads of dirt, or mud slammed down on the coffin. Haw's foot is seen sticking out of the casket.
Shitheads couldn't even stick them in right. Well, I ain't gonna touch the slimy sucker.
He's beginning to sweat as he works faster.
He can't find out. He'll think I ain't doing my job. I need that money. He won't find out. No one's gonna know. I need my money.
It's a little bit different from the movie where he looks into the camera and says some folks have a strange
funny idea of entertainment.
Funny idea of entertainment, yeah. Pickup. Tommy drives with incredible anxiety. He sees Sheriff Garrett and Deputy Rick Cologne close behind. In the sheriff's car, keeping a stern eye on Tommy, the sheriff shakes his head.
It's kind of frightening to think that a kid like that can go so far over the edge. Jason really screwed up that poor son of a bitch's mind.
Be an asshole and drink.
He really believes Jason's still alive, doesn't he?
Drink, assholes.
Yeah, but that's not what worries me the most. It's how far he'll go to try and prove it.
Tommy's pickup with the sheriff's car right on his tail roars down the road. Roy has still not been found. Hiding behind a tree, the little man with funny glasses watches for any unseen assassins. In his ill-fighting fatigues, Roy dashes comically from behind one tree to another. His foot catches in some vine, and he takes a terrific pratfall. The paint pellet gun flies from his hand and vanishes. He scrambles to find the weapon. Slowly, we move toward the vulnerable little man with his back to us. A fire some time ago has blackened the trees and ground in this area. Katie, Stan, and Larry walk along looking for their missing players and holding up the other team's flag victoriously. Katie hollers out.
On, you guys, the game's over.
You don't know that for sure. No. What about Roy? Nobody's seen him.
Of course not. If he hasn't already accidentally pelted himself, I'm sure he's lost.
Yeah, but the game's not over till it's over.
That's right.
Katie starts to counter when she thinks she hears something. She stops abruptly.
Wait a second. What was that?
Everyone freezes and listening very intently. A long wait. All three stand stock still, looking around and listening. Not hearing a thing, Stan relaxes.
Nothing.
I could swear I heard.
Jason slams down before them. Jason wants to play Army too. He quickly withdraws the machete from his newly acquired commando belt, and with one violent slice, the blade slashes their throats. Except in the movie, I believe, no, he cuts their heads off in the movie. Yeah, completely cuts their heads off.
Slash
so
their throat.
In this, he slices their throats. He actually cuts their heads off. The razor sharp machete opens up all three throats almost simultaneously. It happens so fast they barely have time to get. Oh, okay, here we go. Three heads drop off, followed by collapsing bodies. I didn't give it one.
Drink.
He watches them fall and looks up at something.
You drink.
Beyond belief is Roy. He stands a few feet away and in a small clearing. He wastes no time as he stalks the final hunter. So incredibly frightened, he doesn't think as he raises his gun at Jason and fires. The blood-red paint pellet makes a direct hit on Jason's chest. He stops, glances down at the annoying mess. As he looks up at Roy, he is even more pissed off. He lunges for him. Roy screams, drops the gun, and runs for his life. Jason is hell-bent on catching this nerd. Back on Roy, tears of terror swelling up as the poor guy races. Jason is seen a short distance behind, machete poised and ready. Roy glances back and screams as he heads towards the ugly charred forest.
Oh, God, help me! Somebody help! He's trying to kill me!
Eternal Rest Cemetery. Tommy stares at the sign and the approaching turnoff. He glances up in his rearview mirror again and biting his lips, he decides to go for it. Tommy's pickup makes a sudden left and he heads up the road towards the cemetery.
Fucking A, what'd I tell you? Hit the noise and cherries.
Rick turns on the siren and the red lights. The police car screeches left and roars after Tommy. Tommy gets nervous, hearing the siren blaring, but his dad pulls over, speeds up. Sheriff's car.
I'm getting real tired of this maniac.
Maybe we better call that psychiatric clinic.
Better call an ambulance first.
The sheriff's car accelerates and gains on the pickup. The high-speed chase continues down the narrow dirt road. Tommy's old pickup skids to a stop in front of the gates. He leaps out of the car as the sheriff screeches up next to him. We crane up past the eternal rest sign as Tommy races into the old cemetery. There's a chase, a good old-fashioned foot chase in the cemetery. And then finally, Tommy's ass gets tackled.
I gotta show you Jason's grave.
I've seen it.
Please, Sheriff. You'll see we need to dig it up.
I'm going to call drink on that. You mess your tents up, sir.
You'll see we dig it up.
Dug it, drink.
Damn it.
Finally handcuffing him, the sheriff yanks him to his feet. Gripping Tommy's arm with one hand, he points at something.
Well, he must have got chilly in the night and pulled the dirt back over.
Tommy looks around to where the sheriff is pointing. The boy is astounded by what he sees. About 12 yards away are Jason and his mother's tombstones, and from this distance, it is impossible to tell that the chunks of lawn over Jason's grave have been replaced. Tommy shakes his head in utter disbelief.
That's not right. Somebody covered it up. I gotta see it.
The sheriff yanks him back. The deputy pulls his .357 revolver with a laser scope attached, and he aims it at Tommy's head.
Now, see what you've done? You made my deputy draw his revolver. That could be a serious headache for you, because he's been dying to try out his new mail-order laser scope.
The deputy presses his gun's grip. Instantly, a tiny, bright red beam appears on Tommy's temple.
It's a damn impressive piece of high-tech weaponry. Wherever the red dot goes, bullet's sure to follow.
They gave it to the sheriff in this.
Oh, no!
Oh, is that what happened?
This.
I blew it. Wait, okay, let's go back to double line. Hold on.
Let's back it up. Sheriff,
Okay, I'll just do the first half. Graham, you do the second half.
I got it. Yeah.
Just let Graham do it.
And remember, when he says it, you're finishing whatever's in your hands.
No, I just put no. Okay.
Oh, we are?
Oh,
Then
yeah.
do we take a break
Oh,
after?
Jesus Christ.
Here we go.
Let Graham do the line.
Okay.
Should I just do it?
Yes.
Okay. Now see what you've done? You made me draw my revolver. That could be a serious headache for you. I've been dying to try out this new mail order laser scope. It's a damn impressive piece of high-tech weaponry. Wherever the red dot goes, you bang.
Break!
I honestly can't drink the rest of this.
That was bad.
I was about to say, I was like, wait a minute, I think this is that line.
Oh, God.
And now we're all going to die.
We need to make that later.
I'm hurting.
Ryan, are you just drinking straight vodka?
Excuse me?
Are you drinking straight vodka?
Si, senor.
Oh,
That's what Jason would drink.
That's a bold
Hey,
move.
man, it's Scripts Gone Wild, baby. I don't fuck around with Scripts Gone Wild.
Okay.
Okay. I'm drinking straight scotch, so.
All right, here we go.
And page 35 out of 130 million.
Whoa, 104.
104.
Tommy stares, fearing for his life at the
Oh, my
startled
God.
deputy.
What's the problem, Sheriff?
The old caretaker rushes awkwardly towards them. Immediately, the sheriff whips Tommy around and drags him back towards the car as Rick quickly holsters his gun.
Nothing, Martin. Just a vagrant kid. We got it under control.
As they leave, Tommy looks back at the old man.
Who covered up Jason's grave?
Oh, God.
Yeah, see? Drink.
Martin stops abruptly and tries to hide his nervousness.
What? What are you talking about?
The sheriff pulls Tommy along even faster.
Don't concern yourself, Martin. This boy needs treatment. We're taking care of it. Sorry for the disturbance.
Jason's not in his coffin.
You assholes.
Hawes is. Dig it up. You gotta dig it up.
Martin watches with extreme uneasiness as Tommy is thrown into the back of the squad car. The deputy gets into Tommy's pickup and follows the sheriff out. Martin, pulling out his near-empty bottle of Jack Daniels, downs it all. With a noisy exhale, Martin glances back at Jason's grave.
Dig it up. Hell, What kind of butthole does he think I am?
The large chunks of rearranged lawns are now visible. We hold on Jason's tombstone. Now we're at Camp Forest Green. A large group of cheering female youngsters. The little girls sit on the 2 large picnic tables. Megan stands before them.
And then after that, we'll swim, hike, and have lots of fun together, okay?
The girls squeal. Sissy mimes sticking her finger down her throat in disgust. Paula stifles a laugh and slaps Sissy's knee. She looks around.
Where's Court gone off to?
Are you ready? He's taken our young men off to teach them my favorite sport.
Which is?
Boy Scouting.
Oh, gotta be kidding me.
Clothes on the 12-year-old boy. Tie in.
Gotta be kidding.
Court is kneeling on the path, positioning 2 rocks. He's surrounded by a group of bored, arms-folded preteen boys.
No, seriously. The Indian scout would arrange the rocks in such a way that, like, only his fellow Indians would know which way he went. You know?
You know.
Tie-in leads into another equally bored youngster, Billy.
If this is exciting as it gets, we're in big trouble, dude.
Burned out forest area. Jason stalks through the blackened woods. The undead killing machine keeps coming. Off the side of the road, Sheriff Garris opens his backseat door. He pulls Tommy out of the vehicle and gruffly turns him around and uncuffs him. Whipping him back around, the sheriff grabs him by his shirt and pulls him uncomfortably close.
I don't find it amusing that the nut house you belong in thinks you're responsible enough to leave here unescorted. In fact, it gripes my ass.
Wow.
You've been damn lucky, pisshead. With all the grief you caused me and my partner, you should be leaving wearing your balls as earrings.
The deputy walks up and slaps Tommy's car keys in his hand. Tommy looks up, down at his keys, and back at the wicked, smiling deputy.
I think we should do it to him anyway.
The sheriff leans in and taps Tommy's earlobes with his index fingers.
Nah, but if we see old Tommy ever again, you can guarantee it.
Both lawmen turn and climb back into their car. Tommy waits there as they pull out and drive away. He watches as they disappear down the highway. Slowly, the boy's stubborn determination returns. He rushes towards the old pickup. Behind it, the sun is setting. Camp Forest Green. The campgrounds are peaceful and quiet. A foggy haze covers everything, and it's tranquil, but a little uneasy. Is somebody watching from the woods? 2 rows of sleeping youngsters in their cots are seen. In the girls' cabin, the same. The little girls' faces reflect pleasant dreams. In the counselor's cabin, Paula and Sissy are seated at a card table playing the board game Clue. Paula keeps looking toward the window, troubled by something. Sissy rolls the die and moves her token along the board.
Okay. So I suggest that the crime was committed in the bedroom by Colonel Mustard with the knife.
Huh? Oh, come on, sis. I'm telling you, we can't play a Clue with just 2 people.
Oh, come on, why not? I used to play it alone, and I love murder games. Okay, so have you ever played Consulting Detective?
No. Did Megan say when she's coming back from her visit?
Oh, of course not. No, she's probably took him a loaf of bread with some... She probably took him a loaf of bread with a saw hidden in it. Damn it.
Hank.
I still don't get it. Why him? I mean, he's cute, all right, but like...
Isn't that enough?
You're right. And for the area, that even makes him overqualified.
I'm going to call her at the old jailhouse. Maybe her dad found out what happened in Darren and Elizabeth by now. I can't believe they haven't called. I say if they're not here by morning, we send all the kids home. We're not prepared to run this place ourselves.
Suddenly, a child's horrified scream. Someone scream! Ah! Oh, that was horrifying. Hanging up the phone, Paula races out the door, followed by Sissy. We follow behind the both of them as they run in the direction of the scream. We follow them up the steps of the girls' cabin, and as Paula and Sissy burst in, a little girl in pajamas rushes towards them, and she points at a cot across the way. She saw a monster!
Did.
She looks to where the little girl is pointing. Huddled up in her cot and pressed against the wall is Nancy. The sweet-faced 9-year-old girl is frightened out of her wits. Her big blue eyes are filled with tears. Behind Paula and Sissy, the other children stare wide-eyed at Nancy, and Paula approaches her gently.
Hi. Everything is all right now. We're here.
Yeah, we're here.
Paula crouches down next to Nancy's cot. Sissy stands next to her friend. Nancy has still not stopped trembling.
So what happened?
There was a monster. He was after me and he wanted to kill me.
Mm-hmm. Where?
Everywhere.
Oh.
You mean you had a bad dream?
No, he was real, like haunting me.
In motherly fashion, Paula wipes Nancy's tears and tucks her back under the blanket.
Okay, listen. What's your name, sweetie?
Nancy.
Well, Nancy, I'm Paula. Remember? This is Sissy, and we're going to be right here all night so nothing can hurt you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So no more bad dreams can come around here, huh?
Paula smiles lovingly at her and then stands. I feel comforted, personally. Paula and Sissy start to leave.
Super comforted.
Sissy gets cocky, addressing the others.
Now, you all go back to Zealand. Where
The fuck was that?
And you don't have to worry about shit.
Paula nudges her for her choice of language.
What? No, come on. I'm sure they've heard worse at home, okay?
Paula looks outside and then turns to Sissy.
I just realized something. Where's Court? I haven't seen him for hours.
I don't know. He called somebody, then took off.
He didn't say anything?
Yeah, he was going to go check out things that go bump in the night.
I think that means sex. Mobile home campground. A lone RV bounces and pumps to the beat of loud rock music. Maybe it's even the song "The Man Behind the Mask" by Alice Cooper.
Maybe. Yeah.
Don't even start with that. Don't even start with that.
Bright light beams from the windows of the mobile home. A cord extends. Extends from the vehicle and is plugged into the power outlet of this isolated trailer compound. Heavy metal music blasts as Court and a savagely sexy girl, Jill, make love to the beat. With her on top, Court is really getting his bump in the night. He just lies back and technique. She moans and bites her lip with erotic pleasure, never missing a beat with the music. Jill even bumps and grinds perfectly to the song's drum breaks. Wait, is somebody Jill?
Speaking of your office chair is just making.
Did I not assign the role of Jill?
I can be Jill. You want me to be Jill?
Non-assigned rules.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
Whoever said they were going to be Jill?
I'll do
be
it.
Jill.
Yeah. They're the best. The best. You gotta keep up to the end of the song.
Court, nearing his climactic moment, strains to avoid it.
Izzy Lee.
I'm trying. How much longer?
Jill bent forward, laying her soft, voluptuous breasts on his hairy chest.
Oh.
She whispers seductively in his hairy ear.
Only 10 more minutes.
Poor Court's eyes widen. He'll never make it the final chord. From a short distance back, we watch the rock and rolling RV. Suddenly, Jason steps shockingly into frame. He stands in the foggy woods and watches, getting his rocks off. In the mobile home, the rock tune now blares out a wild guitar solo. She gyrates wildly along with every screeching note. His face contorts wildly. Just as he's about to, Jason's hand grabs a cord and tears it out, leaving the plug sparking in the outlet. The RV's bright lights, music bouncing instantly retard and cease.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah!
And outside, Jason rubs one out. Dim moonlight spills in through the windows. Jill jumps off court and starts to investigate the problem.
Wait a second. Court, you didn't already.
Court sits quite quickly.
I thought that was the end of the song.
Great. Just great.
She stumbles through the RV. Shivering, she puts on her coat and heads to the AC power switch.
If this friggin' thing is burned out, friggin' Horace will ground my butt.
Who's Horace?
My friggin' stepfather, an asshole in residence.
Jill flips the switch a couple times, nothing. She presses her face against the window and looks out. The power cord is seen laying on the ground below.
How did that happen?
Court pulls the blankets around himself, fighting the cold.
What?
Go out and plug the cord back in.
What? Who pulled it out?
Smokey the friggin' bear. I don't know, just do it.
Court nervously starts to get dressed. The door opens. Court sticks his head out and slowly looks around.
Will you hurry the fuck up? I gotta get this fuckmobile back before Horace finds out I took it.
All right.
Court walks around the RV, watching everything around him. It's getting tense. Apprehensively, Court approaches the cord and picks it up. He keeps staring out at the surrounding drifting fog. Without looking at it, the jittery boy starts to plug it in. Then he notices the torn out plug and frayed cord. Court grasps. He gasps. He turns to call Jill. He bangs into someone right behind him. And it is Jill.
What are you doing? What happened to it?
Court hands her the damaged cord.
I don't know. But unless you want to look exactly like it, I say we make this place a memory.
Jill looks down at it. Close up, the horribly ripped and torn cord looks with grotesque. Oh, God damn it. Torn cord, it does look quite grotesque. Jill, she cans the foggy night and a deadly fear now grips her. Slowly, then picking up speed, she follows after Court, who is stopped in the RV's doorway. She rushes up and turns to look at what he's staring at.
I think someone's out there.
No shit, Sherlock. The woods are still, with the exception of the drifting fog. Is that a tree in the shadows, or Jill pushes him into the mobile home?
I don't want to know.
He climbs in, slams the door, and locks it. Court jumps into the driver's seat. He tries to start the car. Fuck, it's dead. He looks at Jill in terror.
This can't be.
She shakes her head at him.
It isn't.
She calmly turns the power switch over to battery. Court tries the ignition again, and it starts up. He grins.
Are you going to drive or not?
Quickly, he shifts and roars backwards. Jill is thrown to the floor. Items fall off the counters. In a cloud of dust, the huge RV races backwards. The vehicle peels out of the campgrounds, and Jill is now sent flying all over the camper. This is where Jill just starts getting basically abused by her sexual partner, with the weapon being an RV. Court laughs loudly as he races down the bumpy dirt road. Jill tries to control her temper. Enough things have gone wrong tonight without having this idiot destroy her old man's RV.
Where's Jill? Pause.
Oh.
What does your hat say, Billy?
It says Bush Quail.
Oh, amazing.
Wow.
Quail 88.
Wow. That's it. Pull over. I'm driving.
No way. I want to rock.
Jill, as she heads towards him. Without warning, Jason explodes out of the bathroom and he yanks her to him. The door slams shut on him. He's been in that RV the whole goddamn time. Well, since they went outside anyway. His head bobs enthusiastically to the loud rock music and he whoops, then looks up at the rearview mirror. Not seeing Jill, he turns around and looks. Jill is not there, but a ruckus can be heard coming from the tiny bathroom.
Sounds like you're having fun in there. Need any company?
Jason's vice-like grip squeezes her throat. She gasps and gags as his fingers begin to meet. Her nose bleeds. His soulless eyes stare down at her from behind the mask. Jason's fingers connect. Her throat collapses. Blood bursts out of her mouth. Court is still rocking out behind the wheel. He checks his rearview mirror again.
Hey, what are you doing? Taking a dump? How about I come back and snatch a peek? Or vice versa?
As he cackles with amusement, Jason throws open the door. Court doesn't hear it. Menacingly, Jason stalks him. His hand pulls out the long, jagged survival knife, and he holds it poised and ready. Slowly, the infamous slasher closes in on Court. Court drives, oblivious to the Grim Reaper standing behind him. A new song plays on the radio. Court beams, recognizing it as a favorite of his, "The Rose" by Bette Midler. He turns it up.
All right. Yo, Jill, listen to this.
He looks up into the rearview mirror. Jason's hockey mask face glares at him. Court recoils in horror. Jason's hand grabs him by the hair. The gleaming blade raises up and it closes on the back of Court's head as the jagged knife plunges into his ear. Suddenly, all sound cuts off. We watch in eerie silence as Jason lets go of Court's knifed head. The lifeless body flops over the wheel, and immediately the RV veers off to the left. The runaway mobile home drives off the road with a horrible crash and falls over on its left side. Slowly, the fog swirls around the motionless vehicle. We wait suddenly. The door bursts open. Jason climbs out of the wreckage and, surrounded by an evil fog, stands atop the fallen metal beast like a conquering warrior. And now we're back in the sheriff's office.
What makes you so high and mighty? You keep forgetting, little Megan. I'm the parent.
Megan is slouched in a chair and pouting.
And you're the child.
Sits up in hot-blooded frustration.
When are you going to stop treating me like one?
When you stop acting like one, Tommy Jarvis is a very sick boy, and you...
How do you know? Did you take his temperature?
You watch that smart-mouthing young lady.
She crosses her eyes in a comic attempt to watch her mouth.
Kind of hard to see it from this angle. Got a mirror?
Ooh, Megan enjoys pushing her temperamental father to the limit. He stomps around like Ralph Cramden.
Now tell me, if your mother was alive, you wouldn't.
The poor sheriff finally blows sky high because she just evoked his dead wife, who he probably misses quite a bit. He throws open the door.
That's it. Out. I don't need this tonight. Out, Megan.
The sheriff gets a call over the shortwave. Unintimidated by his bellowing, Megan calmly answers it.
Sheriff's office. Can you hold on? He's in the can draining his lizard.
Sheriff Garrett slams the door and roars toward his precocious daughter.
Oh, here he comes now. Daddy, it's Rick.
That's Deputy Rick Cologne, for those who don't know. The growling sheriff practically rips the receiver out of snickering Megan's hand.
What? What kind of problem?
On the forest road, Deputy Rick Cologne stands outside the squad car. Talking into the mic, he stares fearfully at the VW bug and Elizabeth's floating corpse in the background.
My name's George Grimm.
You better get down here. I found what's left of the counselors. Looks like someone did them in using Jason's old MO.
Back in the sheriff's office.
Jason.
I knew I should have done something about that son of a... Where are you? Right.
Megan grows concerned as her father gathers his things with a deadly urgency.
What is it?
Now what? Who? It seems your boyfriend wants people to believe that Jason has returned.
D-R-I-N-K spells drink.
I thought Jason was only a legend.
God damn it to hell.
Fuck.
Whew.
He is. Only Tommy wants to prove this legend's true. Now you stay put, and I'm not kidding.
Grabbing his rifle, the sheriff rushes out. Megan stares, wondering what the hell is going on. Now we're in the forest. Jason's filthy boots. He's just, he's walking through the forest trying to find something. In the sheriff's office, Megan sits alone at the desk waiting. A large window is right behind her. Bored, she puts her feet on the edge of the desk. She leans back toward the window, seeing how far the chair will go back and still stay balanced. Tension builds as we move closer to the balancing girl and the windows behind her. Will she fall? Will she not? Who knows? We stop and wait. Suddenly the phone rings and it startles her, and guess what? She fucking falls. Cocky bitch.
That was me falling. Sheriff's office. No, I'm sorry. He's not in at the moment. Can I take a message?
As she listens, Megan immediately straightens up.
Oh, hi. I'm Megan, his daughter. Remember, I met you this morning.
Tommy's in a phone booth, and a badly sabotaged one at that, in a closed gas station. And it's actually called Karloff's convenience store.
Cool.
We can figure who that's named after. Jack Karloff. He is illuminated by the lights of his pickup.
Yeah, hi. Listen, I've got to talk to your dad about Jason. I've got a plan. I need to buy some things first, but mainly need to help to, maybe...
Tommy, my father's out looking for you right now. Something happened tonight, and he's sure you're responsible. If he finds you, he'll...
I already have a very good idea what could have happened. Megan, Jason is out there. He has to be stopped. I'm positive he's heading back to the lake area. He'll keep killing until he just.
I'll pick you up. Where are you?
What?
It's the only way. My father will nail you in your car in a second. Where are you?
Tommy looks around for something identifiable.
Howie's service station and feed bag shop. I think it's over.
I know where it is. I'll see you in half an hour.
Hearing her hang up, Tommy does the same and exits the booth. He looks around, shivers, and zips up his jacket. He's worrying about involving Megan in this, and he's evidently worried about catching a cold. He's worried for himself. Dark woods. Out of the foggy shadows, an evil specter emerges into the moonlight. Jason. He stares. The renovated campsite looks quite peaceful and calm before the... Jason cocks his head, not quite sure why it looks so different, but it feels like home. With machete in hand, he proceeds into the campground. A grossly bloody sheet. It covers a corpse that is lifted into an ambulance. As we pull back, Sheriff Garris and 2 other officers are in disgust. The sheriff suddenly turns and heads for the patrol cars. Officer Pappas and Thornton follow behind.
On all officers, all units and stations within a 50-mile radius alerted about this wacko kid.
Yes, sir.
You have his vehicle description. I want roadblocks on...
Sheriff, get over here.
I want to give Pappas a first name. It's Mordecai. He takes off into the woods towards his deputy's voice. We move rapidly through the maze of trees and brush. He heads towards us, searching for the deputy.
Sheriff, over here.
We turn and head for Deputy Rick Cologne, waving a flashlight at us. Running up to his ashen-faced deputy, Sheriff Garris looks down at what Rick holds out, a pair of blood-splattered glasses. We recognize them as once belonging to Roy, the nerd. Sheriff looks at him.
Nerd.
Is that all you found?
I wish it was.
He shines his flashlight on the ground. A severed man is illuminated before us. It wears an army fatigue sleeve. We follow the light over a couple of yards to a hacked-off leg, also in fatigues. Both keep staring stoically down at the body parts.
Better get out the hefty bags. Looks like our boy desperately wants us to believe his story.
He sure chose the right day to pull this shit.
What do you mean?
Happy Friday the 13th.
Oh!
Yeah! Hey, y'all!
You got a drink on that.
Yeah, drink.
I think so.
Why not?
The sheriff slowly looks over at Deputy Rick Cologne in utter disbelief. Camp Forest Green, close on a telephone cord in the cabin. Whack! The machete blade cuts the phone cord in half. He stares at his handiwork, then heads towards the lit and open window. The counselor's cabin. Paula has fallen asleep on her bed and the phone is right next to her. Sissy is wearing headphones, listening to her Walkman. She sits on her bed, oogling through the pages of a Playgirl magazine. The magazine is filled with beefcake posing guys, and this is the mid-80s, so it's probably like Jan Michael Vincent. Oh, yeah, Jan Michael Vincent. He is practically drooling on the pages. In the background, a figure quickly passes by the open window. Sissy, the movement catches her eye, and she cranes her head to look. Taking off the rock and roll blaring headphones, Sissy shuts off her Walkman and walks over to the window and looks out. She surveys. Nothing. Perplexed. She knows she saw something. She starts to turn away, and then the sound of leaves crunching catches her attention. She sticks her head out the window and tries to sound authoritative.
All right. Who's out there?
Paula wakes up now.
What's going on?
I think someone's messing around out there.
It's got to be Court. He loves to scare people. Teach him a lesson.
She hears footsteps right below the window. She thinks, then breaks into an impish grin. Sissy quietly tiptoes over to the table and picks up her half-consumed can of Tab, the drink of the 80s. Sissy, trying not to laugh, sneaks back to the window. She crouches down and then extends the can outside. Her hands turn it over, and the sticky Tab pours down on her victim. We hear it hitting someone. She withdraws the can and jumps back from the window, expecting a response. She is surprised not to get one. Stifling a laugh, she creeps back toward the window. Tension mounts as she reaches the frame and tentatively peers over it. Shockingly, Jason springs up and grabs her. Bottom half of Sissy's body is whipped violently out through the window. Paula awakens just as Sissy's legs fly out through the window.
Hey, you guys. Try not to wake the kids.
Paula listens. She hears a struggle, a whoosh, A thump, then silence. She snickers once again and then falls back into dreamland to the wonderful sounds of violent murder. Phone booth. Megan's orange Camaro screeches up. We follow as she jumps out and is met by Tommy.
I'm going to borrow your car. You can't do this with me. It's much too dangerous.
And you can't leave that truck out in plain sight. Talk about dangerous.
Serious.
What?
Hide it behind the gas station. That way we can get the hell out of here. Oh.
Look, this isn't a game. You're not going with me. I'm already responsible for causing the death of Didn't
you say you needed some supplies to do this?
Yeah, but
then let's get going. We can argue on the way. You tell me what you need. I'll make sure you get it.
She heads towards her loudly purring Camaro.
And nobody drives this baby but me. Now get that
Nora.
pickup kid and let's boog.
There isn't much he can say.
Wow. Nora's amazing.
With an exasperated sigh, he runs to move his truck. The girls' dormitory cabin, a row of sleeping children. Each has her own unique position of slumber. We pull back to reveal her large windows just above in moonlight. Jason's silhouette carrying Sissy's headless corpse passes. We follow Jason's evil shadow as it crosses more sleeping kids. When it falls across little Nancy, her half-open eyes flash open. She sits up in wide-eyed fear as we rapidly press in on her, obviously scarred for life. Megan's hot Camaro jets down the road, kicking up dust. Tommy looks back at Megan.
Can this tub go any faster?
You got it. Just keep an eye out for roadblocks.
Okay. There's one.
As they round the bend, two police cars with lights are flashing are blocking the road. Megan's car skids to a stop. Tommy looks at the temperature of Megan for a plan. She delivers. Grabbing his head, she pulls it down into her lap. Her head is in her...
Get down!
He stares bug-eyed as he confronts her tight jean crotch. He slams it into reverse.
Fine, look at her jean crotch.
Tight jean
crotch. That's a Conway Twitty song, I think. The orange bomber roars backwards towards the road. Spring into action and give chase. The two police cars do. Pappas, the very good-looking Mordecai Pappas.
Oh, man.
Sit in.
Hi, Pappas.
Unit 45, Officer Pappas to Sheriff Garris. Do you copy?
God.
Yeah, I'm here. What?
Got a different vehicle that just turned tail seeing us. Saw somebody duck down.
Got a description or plates?
You have
A whole enchilada. It's an 82 orange Camaro. License.
Megan's car back quickly in a turnoff, then peels out full steam ahead. Officer Pappas is just finishing the vehicle's description when the sheriff explodes.
Son of a shitting bitch! That's my daughter's car!
Those are the worst kind of bitches. Ones to be shitting.
Shitting bitch.
Not ideal.
Not good.
Time for a diaper.
Not great.
Where are we at here?
I think we're at Pappas.
Oh,
fuck, where?
How should we?
Right after son of a shitting bitch.
Come on, Mordecai.
All right, fuck.
With extreme care, for God's sake. If that kid is with her, there's every good chance he'll do something crazy.
Close up on Tommy's face, still on her tight jean crotch.
Are we going backwards?
In some ways, yes, we are.
We are at
Bottom of 63.
Proceed, sir. We are at how should we proceed, sir?
Oh, okay.
Interior sheriff's car. That's where we're at.
Okay. So we have done. How should we proceed, sir?
With extreme care.
Okay.
He just
read
Get all that.
All right.
God
With
damn it,
extreme
it's my
care,
line.
for God's sake.
Buy and drink.
Fuck.
Please don't do anything crazy.
He drives like a Hellcat trying to lose the pursuing cops.
I know what I'm doing. I got your supplies for you, didn't I? Now, if I can get to Cunningham Road, I can lose them. Just stay where you are.
He puts his head back down in her tight jean crotch and stares out the view.
Whatever you say.
The car roars by, immediately followed by the 2 police cars. Headlights illuminate the windy path we travel, enormous trees. Our strong-willed heroine is determined to reach her destination. The Camaro flies past us, one cop car, then the other follows suit. All 3 vehicles' tires squeal on the hazardous curves. Megan's wild driving causes his head to roll around in her tight jean crotch. He tries to be discreet about where it keeps landing.
That's what I want.
Tommy registers surprise. What Megan sees ahead has her beaming with confidence. 2 signposters seen. One reads Cunningham Road, the other Camp Forest Green, with an arrow pointing right.
This is going to be a hairy turn. Grab a hold of something.
He looks at her with a look of, you gotta be kidding. Her car screams around the turn on the Cunningham Road. Shockingly, her father and his car are waiting in the dark for them. The deputy and his car, Rick Cologne, and his car are right behind the sheriff. Both have their rifles aimed and ready. Megan's car barely has enough room to brake. The Camaro flashtails to a stop. Fishtails, god damn it. The sheriff remains stock still, not flinching at all. With a deadly cool, he orders his tight jean crotch daughter.
Megan, step out of the car.
She stares in horror at her father. She's never seen him point a gun at her, but then again, she's never pulled a stunt like this. Megan then looks down at her feet. He is sprawled across the floorboard, his face between Megan's feet. He stares at her in utter dread.
It's all over.
It's just beginning.
We head across the campgrounds towards the counselor's cabin. Climbing the steps, we open the door and Paula is sound asleep. The sound of the door opening causes her to stir. We continue through the door into the cabin. Looking around, we spot the sleeping counselor. We head for her. Tension builds as we stare at the restless girl. Sensing someone over her, Paula opens her eyes. She gasps. A bloody machete is held out before her, but it's not Jason, no. It's little Nancy, standing over her, holding that bloody machete.
I can't sleep, Paula. I'm scared. I saw someone at the window and...
Paula
Where
sits
did
up
you
quickly
get
and
this?
grabs the machete.
I found it outside.
Paula doesn't know what to think. Looking around the cabin and not seeing anyone, she draws some rapid conclusions.
You know what? Sissy and Court are playing jokes. You know, trying to scare each other.
Why?
Well, grown-ups think it's funny to be scared.
Are they grown-ups?
Oh,
That's debatable.
Huh?
Paula shakes her head, puts the machete down on the floor, and stands up.
Never mind. Is it that lake already?
She grabs the phone and starts to dial.
I can't believe no one called back. I better.
Who are you calling?
Paula realizes the child doesn't need to hear this conversation, so she hangs up.
Why don't we first try and find Sissy and Court? Then you can go to sleep. Okay?
Well, what if they try to scare us?
We'll scare them right back.
Nancy giggles with delight. Just like that. Paula leads Nancy down the steps. She makes a game out of quietly sneaking around looking for the missing counselors. For the child, this is fun. Without warning, Jason's masked face is before us. A sting accompanies the shot. In the dark shadows, Jason watches the 2 giggling girls. He waits for his moment. For Jason, this is fun. He rubs another one out. Composite master. Wow. I got real technical there when I said composite master. I don't think they need to know the technical.
Add to the nightmare, dude.
I said, shut up.
All he's asking is for you to check it out.
You got me where you want me. There's no reason not to do whatever you need
I
to
had
do.
you where I really wanted you. They'd be pumping your ass full of
Drink.
I had you where I really wanted you. They'd be pumping your ass full of formaldehyde.
Can't you at least call the camp and make sure everything's all right?
Drink, you fuckers.
We have. Trying to track you down. The phone there is disconnected.
Doesn't that tell you something?
Yeah, they should have paid their bill.
Oh. In the background, we hear a call coming in on the radio. Deputy Rick Cologne is heard answering it. The sheriff-
Your fave.
You just sit tight, Jason. Once the authorities from Carpenter get here, you'll...
Sheriff, you better
Jason.
Oh, Jason.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Too many
Sheriff, You better take this.
Sheriff Garris, approximately what time? Yeah, I'll be right there.
The sheriff grabs his coat and hat to leave, and Megan runs up to him.
What happened?
Her father looks past her to the deputy.
Rick, keep an eye on our wacko kid. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Oh, I will.
Daddy, what is going on?
Make sure my daughter stays put. She's grounded.
Megan steps in his path as he turns to go. She pushes against his chest as hard as she can.
Tell me.
The sheriff immediately raises his hand to strike her. Ooh. Then, quickly controlling himself, he grabs her by the shoulders.
They just found your friend Court and some girl. She was brutally strangled in court. He had a knife rammed through his skull.
No, it's not.
Yes, Megan, Tommy Jarvis is a killer. A very deranged boy who wants you to believe that...
Jason did do it. I swear. Sheriff. When were they murdered?
He disregards Tommy's question and stares at his daughter with sincere concern.
For God's sake, stay away from him. Please, Maggie.
As he starts again to leave, Maggie, still in shock from the news, grabs her father's arm.
Dad, what time were they murdered?
The sheriff hesitates, not wanting to answer. Somehow it blurts out,
I think somewhere around 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
Maggie steps right up to her father.
I was with Tommy all that time.
This is obviously hits him on more than one level. He masks his reaction, turns, and heads for the door.
Rick Cologne, I'll call you when I get there.
Yeah, okay, sounds good, Sheriff. I got it here. It's fine.
He exits. Megan, with sorrowful eyes, looks back at Tommy. Tommy slams both fists against the bars.
Damn!
In the girls' dormitory cabin, Paula and Nancy are tiptoeing, trying not to wake the other children. Reaching little Nancy's bed, Paula tucks her in snugly, and she crouches next to the child.
I'm sure Court and Sissy are back in their cabins. So you just go back to sleep and don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Shh. You know what I used to do when I was a little girl when I got scared? I would close my eyes and say a little prayer. And pretty soon, you know what? Everything scary went away. It worked for me. I'll bet it'll work for you too.
She kisses the child's forehead.
Good night. See you in the morning.
As she stands up, we see Jason glaring at them through the window. Paula smiles tenderly at Nancy. Nancy smiles back, rolls over, and closes her eyes. She begins to quietly head for the door. Jason follows right alongside. Paula exits the dormitory door as silently as possible, and she looks around the area, still very concerned about her companions. A gentle breeze is blowing away the evening fog, and the trees and bushes seem to shiver nervously. As she slowly descends the steps, somehow she can sense her deadly face. Paula looks around again, then hurries toward her cabin. Paula races across to the camp. Paula races across the camp to the counselor's cabin.
Thank you,
She lifts up the cabin steps and finds the door closed. She seems relieved. As Paula enters, there we go. As Paula enters, she is disappointed to find it empty. Paula hurries to the phone and starts dialing. For the first time, she realizes the phone is dead. Her frustration turns to alarm when she notices something at her feet. The machete she left on the floor is gone. Bloody stains on the floor mark where it had lain. Paula hears a noise and turns to look. The door moves a bit. Was it the wind? Or is there some motherfucker behind it? Not sure if it's a joke or her imagination, Paula slowly heads towards it and the tension mounts. Just as she suddenly reaches it, she extends her hand to grab the knob and suddenly the wind blows it towards her. She backs up. It slams shut. No one, of course, is there. She giggles at herself and reopens the door. Jason is right there in the doorway. He grips Paula's face tight on his machete as it advances. A few yards from the cabin, we watch as Jason quickly lunges at Paula and slams the door, muffling her scream. Blood splatters on the window. He's tearing some shit up, Voorhees style. Sheriff's office. Deputy Rick Cologne is hunched over his desk, doing what he hates most, filling out reports.
Oh, man, I hate filling out reports.
Satisfied, he returns to his shit work. Seated across the room, Megan appears to be idly sketching something on a large pad. Oh, excuse me. Tommy sits on his jail cot, head in hands, hopeless. Megan looks up at the deputy, then over at Tommy. Tommy glances at her. She holds up the sketch pad for him to read. As she does, his eyes widen, amazed at what she's written. He mouths, "Are you sure?" As she lowers the pad. She nods a strong affirmative. Tommy gets up off the cot and stretches nonchalantly, and he eyes the Deputy Rick Cologne, then Megan. She flips the page over and starts to really sketch.
So, what are you drawing?
What's it to you?
Deputy Rick Cologne looks up, irritated by the noise.
Hey, pipe down, Jarvis.
Tommy grabs the cell bars.
I was just curious about what she was drawing.
Megan holds it up for Tommy to see.
There. Now you happy?
No,
Why?
because it stinks.
Megan throws the sketch pad at him and it bounces off the bars. Tommy reaches down, grabs it, and pulls it into his cell. Megan stands up defiantly.
Okay, give it back.
Come and get it.
This is really getting Deputy Rick Cologne pissed. He gets up.
Oh, bastard. Megan, I'll get it.
Megan is already in front of the wall and she reaches through the bars for the pad.
Give it to me, punk.
Suddenly, he grabs her arm, pulls her through the bars, and starts kissing her passionately.
That's not consent.
That's not consent at all. Hashtag #2. The more she struggles, the tighter he envelops her. He races across the room. Awkwardly, he grapples to separate them. Deputy Rick Cologne separates them, or tries to, and as they battle, Megan's hand secretly reaches down and pulls the gun from the deputy's holster. Deputy Rick Cologne's holster. Megan allows herself to be torn from Tommy's embrace. The angry Deputy Rick Cologne reaches at Tommy, who backs away into the cell.
You stinking maggot!
Let him out of here.
As Deputy Rick Cologne turns to face Megan, a red laser dot appears on the tip of Deputy Rick Cologne's nose. Megan points the laser scoped rifle right at us. She definitely means business. Deputy Rick Cologne chuckles in disbelief.
Come on, Megan. Don't clown around.
He holds the gun steady.
I ain't the one with the funny red nose. Open the cell and exchange places with him now.
The boy moves up behind Deputy Rick Cologne and reinforces the seriousness of the situation.
Better do as she says, because wherever the red dot goes, you bang.
A bang. Deputy Rick Cologne reluctantly removes his keys
Drink
towards Tommy.
You brainwashed her, you son of a bitch.
Megan breaks into a cocky smile and answers for Deputy Rick Cologne.
Yeah, something like that.
And that's the last we ever see Deputy Rick Cologne.
Oh, bye, deputy.
Bye.
Sheriff's office. Tommy and Megan fly out the door and race towards the Camaro.
You got the keys?
Megan reaches under the car, quickly withdraws a tiny box.
No, he took them. But I got my hidey key.
Tommy rushes up and grabs it from her.
Sorry, Megan, not the time.
Wait a minute.
Oh my God. God damn it.
Tommy Jarvis.
I will redeem myself. I thank you for getting me out, but I got to finish what I started.
Megan stares defiantly at him as she opens the driver's door and gets in. She suddenly slides over to the passenger seat.
Well, come on, Hot Lips. Let's go. You drive, I'll navigate.
Tommy throws up his hands and then climbs in. The car starts up and roars down the street. Girls' dormitory. Jason patrols the children's cabin. Slowly and menacingly, he walks by the young, sleeping kids. Slumbering soundly, they have no awareness of the monster at the edge of their beds. Jason reaches the end of the dormitory. With his back to us, he stops, sensing something, and whips around. He stares at someone with evil intent. You bet your ass it's fucking Nancy. The terrified child eyes peek from under the sheet. She ain't dreaming. This monster is for real. Jansen stands and stares at Nancy at the other end of the cabin, and then he stalks her. Now, Sheriff Garris's car pulls into the campsite. Another patrol car with Officer Mordecai Pappas and Thornton pulls up behind him. The wind is getting stronger as it whips through the trees. Jason's over Nancy's bed. She's frozen in terror. She can't even cry out. He gets closer and closer, and Nancy starts praying.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. And if I die before I wake up, the Lord, my soul is taken. Now I lay me.
Jason hears the car door slam outside. His face turns towards the noise, and he immediately heads for it. With her eyes still tightly shut, she continues to pray, unaware that the monster is gone. Sheriff Garris surveys the campground suspiciously. The two officers approach him.
What's the story here? I don't know if anybody has that. I'm just jumping in.
Why don't you boys nose around? I gotta go break the news to Megan's friends about what's happened. Holler if you see anything.
Like what?
Sheriff heads for the lit counselor's cabin.
Anything that don't belong. And don't wake the kids.
The two officers take out their flashlights and they spread out and scan the area. The raging wind causes everything to whistle and move. The counselor's cabin, knocking is heard.
Girls, Sheriff Garris.
He opens the door and sticks his head in. He is shocked. He is horrified. The entire room is splattered with blood. It drips from the ceiling and streaks down the walls. He quickly bolts out of the room. The sheriff races down the steps and heads for the children's dormitories. Officer Thornton's flashlight scans the two boats along the small dock. Nothing unusual here. Although we can't see anyone in the wind-rustled bushes, we sense Jason is watching the lone cop. His hand withdraws a long, razor-sharp devil dart. With his back to us, the unsuspecting cop concludes his search for the landing and turns around, and his flashlight now focuses on the woods before him, and we follow that flashlight beam as it surveys the windswept area. Jason is illuminated. He raises up the sinister death dart. Recognizing a weapon in the prowler's hand, he goes for his revolver, but Jason, with supernatural strength, throws the deadly projectile at us, and before he can pull his gun, the devil impales itself deep into his forehead. The force of it sends him reeling back. Officer Thornton's body falls into it, and his lifeless eyes stare up at the sky. The dart extends from his third eye, the third eye of Dr. Jebediah Thornton. The boys' dormitory cabin. A row of sleeping boys stacked in their cots. The sheriff quietly closes the door. The girls' dormitory cabins. He opens the door and peeks in. Everything seems okay, but the sheriff registers alarm because one of the girls is missing. You know who that is. Little fucking Nancy. The orange speed demon Camaro rockets past us, and Megan, sitting shotgun, stares open-mouthed at
Somebody's drinking.
Megan!
Oh, I didn't know if you were going to continue. Let me know when you're about to blast into hyperspace. I'll fasten my seatbelt.
I got a bad feeling we're already too late.
Megan glances back at the large sack in their rear seat. She reaches over and looks at his supplies doubtfully.
Are you sure this is going to work? I mean, why didn't we bring that gun and just blast him away?
It probably wouldn't have any effect on him. The only sure way to stop Jason,
I think now would be an appropriate time for you to drink.
is to return him to his original resting place, which he drowned in 1957.
Lake Forest Green?
Crystal Lake, where the nightmare began.
The infamous lake is churning in the moonlight. Officer Pappas steps before us, Mordecai Pappas to be exact. It's apparent that he's getting tired of searching for God knows what. His flashlight scans the wind-blown, vibrating bushes. Suddenly, footsteps are heard. He stops abruptly and strains to listen. Tentatively, he creeps towards. We hear whatever is hiding behind the trembling shrubbery. Reaching the bushes, he calls out.
All right, come out of there.
No reply. He draws his revolver and aims it. We know someone's there.
I'm asking you one more time. Come out of there.
Still no response. With his gun held before him, the nervous Officer Pappas goes for a closer look. Tension builds. He's almost to the bushes. Without warning, someone dives before us and attacks his legs. He gasps out loud, and it's fucking Nancy. Holding on to Pappas for dear life, he catches his breath and then crouches down next to her.
Oh, hey, what are you doing running around down here? Man?
Ryan appreciates your interpretation.
I am in love with Chris Dortch. Fuck it.
We all are.
I missed CFF. It would have been what, next weekend? Damn it.
Oh, let's
go.
No, let's not talk about it.
Yeah. Cheers, homie.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh.
Where are we?
Let's take it back from Pappas's line, just because I want to hear it again.
All right.
Okay, he didn't finish the line. There's still more to that line to be said.
Sorry.
Oh,
Did I interrupted?
Fuck. Hey, what are you doing running around out here? Now you get back to bed.
No,
Babe.
there's a scary man.
What scary man?
Jason explodes out of the bushes. Nancy runs shrieking towards the camp. Officer Mordecai Pappas opens fire on Jason. The bullets penetrate his chest, but he keeps coming. Suddenly, Jason is before him. His powerful hand reaches out and grabs the officer's screaming face. Jason's fingers dig into the cop's skin. He yanks down, literally ripping the skin off of his skull. A bloody, grinning skull stares at us for a moment, then drops from view. Unfortunately, we didn't get that in the film because he got cut by the
fucking
graphic.
Camp Forest Green, the sheriff's car door is thrown open. The sheriff reaches in and quickly pulls out his shotgun. Leaving the door open, he sprints across the camp towards the gunshots, and he rounds the corner of the cabin. Nancy! Fucking Nancy comes screeching towards him. He catches the child and attempts to comfort her.
Hold on. Take it easy. I got you. Everything's fine.
He is supremely comforted. As he hugs her, he looks up at the boys' dormitory cabin. All the children are pressing at the window, staring down terrified, and quickly the sheriff picks Nancy up and heads for the cabin. Sheriff Garris bursts in. All the girls have gathered in the boys' cabin for safety. He puts little Nancy down and addresses the petrified youngsters.
Kids, listen to me very carefully. I want everyone to lie down on the floor and stay there. Do not get up until I come back. Now hurry.
Kids start covering their heads and shit. The sheriff runs out of the cabin, securing the door behind him, and pumps the weapon as he walks. With stern vigilance, he storms towards his objective. Sheriff Garris arrives in the area behind the cabins near the lake, and there's no one to be found. The savage wind whips the trees and bushes, causing the sheriff to twitch at every moment. Slowly, he turns and heads into the shadowed area behind the cabin, and with the shotgun held before him, he walks tensely through the dark passage. The sheriff's eyes dart nervously, straining to see in the near blackness. Suddenly, he trips and falls from view. Rapidly, we tilt down as he slams down on Officer Pappas's corpse, his best friend, first his wife and now Pappas. The sheriff's face lands pressed against the grotesque, bloody skull. Horribly repulsed, he scrambles to his feet. The sheriff stands up, turns, and Jason is waiting right there. Quickly, he backs away from the masked specter of evil. Then they stand motionless for a long time, staring at each other. He decides to make the first move, and he lunges forward. Instantly, he raises the shotgun and blasts Jason with both barrels. A hole is ripped out of Jason's side. It doesn't faze him. He keeps coming. Shocked beyond belief, the sheriff drops the rifle and pulls out his .357. He fires. He fires. It doesn't really do anything except make Jason madder. His gun clicking empty. He takes it. The sheriff turns and runs like hell towards the woods. Jason is right behind. Camp Forest Green. Megan's Camaro roars into the campsite next to the police cars. Megan jumps out in her tight jean crotch and looks around for her father. Tommy grabs a heavy sack from the back seat.
They did show up. Isn't that great? Isn't it?
No. I hope so.
Megan sees the lights on the counselor's cabin. She rushes towards it.
Megan, wait!
And then the ghost of Deputy Rick Cologne intervenes and says,
"Drink."
Megan dashes up the steps and throws the door open. She screams in horror at the blood-spattered room. She runs towards the dormitory.
Daddy!
Tommy, lugging the heavy sack, chases after her.
No! Megan!
Through the violently wind-blown forest dashes our formerly macho sheriff. Primal instincts tell him only one thing: save your own ass. He runs for his life. Jason continues his pursuit. The dormitory cabin, Megan bursts in the doors and the kids scream. Petrified little faces stare up at her and she hurries into the cabin.
It's okay. It's me, Megan. Don't be afraid.
Fucking Nancy and a couple other kids run over and hug her for security.
It's all right. Shh, it's okay.
Nancy's been through some shit. Tommy looks in and is relieved to see they're all right. He quickly turns and runs back towards the steps, and he races the campsite toward the dock, lugging the heavy satchel. Reaching the landing, he starts to board one of the two boats. He recoils in horror. The murdered cop, Officer Thornton, lies in the rowboat. His dead eyes glare back at him, and blood flows from the impaled dart in his forehead. He immediately goes to another boat. Unfortunately, this one is older and more rickety, evident when Tommy steps in it, and it squeaks and moans. Opening it up, Tommy pulls out a long and very heavy chain. He then withdraws some huge padlocks. With intense urgency, he looks along the lakeshore for something. Jason is after the sheriff. Suddenly, he has lost his prey. Carefully, he searches the rustling brushes for the hiding sheriff. Buried deep in the thick bushes, the winded sheriff holds his breath as Jason passes. Now we're back in the boys' dormitory. Megan has done her best to assure the children that they're safe and they're okay.
Now I gotta find my daddy, the sheriff, so we can all go home, okay?
The kids nod and Megan heads for the door and she turns to them.
So you stay here and we'll be back to get you. Everyone lie back down and don't worry.
Two boys, the 12-year-old youngster seen earlier. Billy turns to a sarcastic friend, Tyan.
What do you think?
I think we're dead meat.
Add the line that's missing from this script.
Yes.
Who says it? Who starts it?
You did, Tyan.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Sorry. So what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, there it is. The lakeshore. Tommy struggles to hold a large...
I think it's what do you want to be if you... Is it what do you want to be if you grew up?
No, it's what did you want to be when you grew up?
When you grew up. Yeah, I got it.
Yep.
That's a good
In the background, tight jean crotch Megan is running around the campsite calling out for her father. Tommy, already fearing the worst, yells to Megan.
Megan! Use your dad's car radio and call for assistance. And an ambulance.
She stares at Tommy, petrified at what that means. Assistance? She then runs towards the sheriff's car. As Megan throws the car door open, Sissy's head rolls out and lands at her feet. She goes berserk with horror.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Megan looks around, terrified that this same fate has befallen her father. She screams out even louder.
Dad, answer me. Daddy, where are you? Help us.
I believed it. Lying on the floor, Tyan looks at Billy with a "what did I tell you" attitude.
Real dead meat.
The sheriff, hearing his daughter's distant cry, what can he do? He stops his search. He hears Megan. Jason heads in the direction of Megan's voice. The sheriff peeks out of his hiding place, and our killer storms by without seeing him. Jason is hell-bent for Megan now. Seeing Jason headed towards his daughter, his protective, fatherly instincts cause him to take action without thought, and he leaps out at Jason.
No, not her!
Jason is tackled from behind. With almost superhuman strength, the sheriff attacks Jason and starts pounding him into the ground. So aggressive and so relentless is the pummeling. For a moment, you think he might kill the monster, but only for a moment. Only disoriented and not at all hurt, Jason rolls over under the sheriff. He grasps the sheriff's arms, stopping the assault. Jason shockingly tears the sheriff's arms out of their sockets. He throws them aside. Jason grips the shrieking lawman's head, and he pushes it back, causing the sheriff's body to bend all the way backwards. As he is forced backwards, his feet, a hard crack is heard. His spine has been snapped in half. His body collapsed backwards, but somehow he manages to get out one final line, which is...
Rosebud.
Enraged, Jason throws the ragdoll-like body of the sheriff aside as he rises. Megan's voice is heard again, calling for the father. Jason heads for her. Megan is struggling to help Tommy get the huge rock into the boat. Her eyes are watering from fear.
You gotta help me look for him. We need him to help us.
The chains are arranged to go around the rock, and Tommy tries to brace himself as they lower the boulder down. A crack is heard as the huge stone lands in the old wooden boat.
Okay. Hand me those padlocks.
Did you hear me?
Yes. And I said, hand me those padlocks.
You're gonna be sorry.
Tommy starts padlocking the chains tightly around the rock.
I hope not.
Jason stomps through the woods. Tommy straightens out the rest of the heavy chains and he fashions a noose. Megan paces the dock in nervous fear. She don't know what to do. Jason's getting closer. Tommy unties the boat and pushes off the dock into the churning water.
Megan, get back into the cabin with the kids.
She paces and looks nervous.
Megan, please.
Suddenly it dawns on her that he's actually leaving her alone out there. She panics.
No, don't leave.
He's a rowing.
Megan, get in there with them before it's too late.
The boys' dormitory cabin it is too late. Jason explodes through the door, knocking it off its hinges. The children, my God, the children run screaming to the back of the cabin. He races from the landing towards it. Tommy watches helpless. He stands up.
Megan!
Megan is only a few yards from the cabin. Without warning, Jason bursts out through the window and lands before her. He springs up and grabs the stunned Megan. As she screams, Jason's hand grips her face. She is about to share the same horrific fate as Officer Mordecai Pappas.
Jason!
He looks over towards the lake. Out of the lake, he sees Tommy is awkwardly standing in the boat, waving his arms.
Come on, Jason. It's me you want. Come together!
Jason tosses Megan aside and heads for Tommy. Megan falls to the ground, trembling and hyperventilating. She stares at the departing Jason and looks back at the cabin. All the eyes of the petrified kids peek down at her from the bottom of the window frames. Tommy keeps taunting Jason to come for him.
That's it. Come on, pussy!
It's Maggot Head in the movie. Jason reaches the lake and keeps going as if the water didn't even exist.
He says that
He's
later.
fixed on the one thing he's wanted to kill the most, Tommy fucking Jarvis. God, Tommy sits down. He reaches for the chain noose and holds it in his sweating hands. Jason is wading deeper and deeper in the choppy waters. Seeing Jason is getting dangerously close, Megan jumps up and starts yelling.
Tommy, get out of there!
Yes.
Row to the other side of the lake. Hurry!
Jason stops and turns back to look at Megan. Whoa! Should he get her first? He panics and yells at Jason.
Hey, asshole. It's me you want. Remember? Come on, chicken shit. I'm sitting here waiting.
Jason turns back towards the boy and he moves on him like a hungry shark. Tommy's nervous hands keep the noose out of Jason's side as he opens it wider. He's almost to the boat. He's sweating profusely as he grits his teeth. He's ready. Just as Jason reaches the boat, he submerges, disappearing into the dark waters. The boy goes crazy, looking from one side to the other. He scans the sinister, churning waters. Where will Jason reemerge? A long, tense wait. Bubbles rise. Tommy holds the noose over him. Jason explodes it from the other side. Tommy loses his balance and drops the noose into the bottom of the boat. His fall causes the rickety boat to crack. Water starts to leak. Jason grabs for Tommy, who struggles to reach the noose. Megan's freaking out. She don't know what the fuck to do. Jason's hand grabs Tommy's jacket. The boy fights to break free of his grip. Their struggle causes it to split wide open and more water pours in. He tries to snag the noose as Jason pulls him harder. Tommy yanks him away violently, causing his sleeve to rip off. He manages to catch the noose with his shoe. The boat is filling up with water around the rock, and Jason grabs hold of Tommy's leg. Tommy's other foot slides the chain up to his outstretched fingers. The boy grabs the noose and forces it over Jason's head. In rage, Jason lunges at Tommy. That's all that's needed to split open the hull. Jason is pulled under and he drags Tommy with him. Megan screams hysterically. The large boulder falls to the bottom of the lake and his chain pulls taut. Pulls taut. The chain noose tightens around Jason's neck, and Jason struggles to hold on to Tommy while trying to loosen the choke chain. He fights to free himself of Jason's grasp before running out of breath. He gives up on the noose, opting to strangle Tommy and I think that means strangle Tommy instead. I drank for Tom McLaughlin. Both are drowning in this battle. Bubbles appear on the surface of the lake. After a blurry of them, they cease. Megan covers her mouth in dread. After a moment, Tommy's limp body rises to the surface and it floats lifeless. Jason's body also hangs lifeless, anchored vertically by the chain. The two have destroyed each other. Knowing it's over, all the kids slowly exit the cabin. They surround the catatonic Megan. The wind has died down. Fucking little Nancy stares up sorrowfully at Megan.
Is he killed it?
Megan breaks out of her shock because of that bad fucking grammar, and she heads for the lake.
Stay here.
Megan races to the lake and dives in and swims towards the motionless Tommy. She reaches out, holds him under the chest, and pulls him to shore. Her leg is grabbed by Jason. Who'd have thought that drowning wouldn't kill him? Megan fights for her life as she repeatedly gets yanked down, and Megan's feet kick. Jason's iron grip won't let go. One of Megan's powerful kicks dives into Jason's throat. A stream of foam air bubbles, a disgusting, ugly black fluid rushes from the mask. He lets go of Megan's leg and she swims away, but in the movie, she kills him with the fucking motor of a boat. Our infamous killer is at last defeated. His rotting corpse hangs in its original underwater burial ground, and there will never be another Friday the 13th movie. Megan, the children, my God, the children run down and surround him with concerned faces. She frantically gives him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and her tight jean crotch pulsating. He doesn't respond.
Wow, Billy Ray.
Megan
Wow.
won't accept that he's dead. She won't accept it. She fights back the tears as she pushes on his abdomen. Nothing. She watches Megan tries desperately to revive the lifeless boy. The child gets an idea. She closes her eyes and whispers a little prayer. The tears are now flowing down Megan's cheeks and she knows her efforts are in vain. In frustration, she strikes his chest hard. He coughs, spit out water. The prayer worked. God is real. She whoops and helps him to sit up. A few of the kids hear. Little Nancy, little fucking Nancy, opens her eyes and is quite surprised it worked. She looks heavenward and smiles. Thank you. As Megan hugs him gratefully, Tommy looks out over the moonlit lake.
It's over, Megan. It's finally over. Jason is home.
We look over the shoulders of Tommy, Megan, and the kids as they stare at the now peaceful lake. And now this is the thing that Tom McLaughlin wrote that didn't make the movie. We're in the cemetery. Slowly we head between the tombstones, stalking the old caretaker, Martin, who dies in the actual movie. He has bent over, pulling weeds. We come closer and closer, then finally stand towering over him. He senses us and turns around, startled. He climbs nervously to his feet, quickly dropping the weeds.
You frightened me. I was just, cleaning up the place,
All we see is a dark suit and longish red-gray hair. The way Martin looks up at him, we know he is hiding true terror of the mysterious stranger.
Nice to see you again, Mr. Voorhees. Haven't seen you in Crystal Forest Green in quite some time.
There's only a deathly silence from the nefarious man.
Hey, I've been taking real good care of your wife and your son's graves. Go look. You'll be pleased.
Martin forces a grin to cover his fear. It reaches into the dark back pants pocket and withdraws a small wad of money. The gnarled hand gives it to Martin. Martin obsequiously accepts his payment, and he practically genuflects before him.
Thank you, Mr. Voorhees. Thank you. I'll leave you in private, like you like. Okay. Goodbye. Thank you.
He takes his earning and dashes away, probably to a liquor store. Mr. Voorhees' black shoes head towards us and stop. Slowly, we tilt up towards his face. Just as we reach his chest, we recognize him from before. Of course, they are his wife's and son's, Jason's. He stands menacingly over his family's resting place. Does he sense something is wrong here? They stare down at his son's grave. These eyes are truly evil, cold, dark, demonic. Then the worst happens. They slowly look up at us. They seem to accuse us of knowing the true whereabouts of his son, and he won't stop glaring at us. We glide tranquilly over the blue water towards the middle of the lake. We see we're about to descend into it, and Jason emerges at us. We pull back a bit. No, it's only his infamous mask. Freed from its wicked owner, it floats peacefully along Crystal Lake. Then we cut to a strip club 2 hours later, and Deputy Rick Cologne is standing there, taking in all that he sees. And he gives us one last line for the movie to take him out.
Wherever the red dot goes, you bang.
And that is Friday the 13th. 6.
I'm the man behind the mask.
Teenage Frankenstein.
Great job, everyone.
Woo!
That is
Credits roll. Alice Cooper.
I think that was probably our masterpiece.
I mean, the bar's not high on that, so you might be right.
So I think we need to have one final drink.
Drink.
Hey!
Alcohol.
Hold on, guys. Not to like.
So, if you have watched this and you're not familiar with us, you should go to scriptsgonewild.com
I'm a savage.
You should also go watch Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lee, which is now available on Shudder with all of the other Friday the 13th films, including the Crystal Lake Memories documentary, which is a really fucking fun time. Those are all available there. Once again, next week we're going to be doing From Beyond, featuring an assortment of Stuart Gordon's friends and colleagues, and we're going to pay tribute to him because how awesome was Stuart fucking Gordon, guys?
Awesome. All of the awesome.
Yeah, pretty amazing. That's pretty much about it. Let's give a big round of applause to our readers. We got Dave Lawson. We've got Alex Marshall Brown, Ryan Lambert, Chris Dortch, Graham Skipper, Chris Devlin, Izzy Lee, Nora Nagatani, Drew McWeeny, Connor Murphy, Kimmy Shields. And thank you guys so much. That was fantastic. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love all of you. I'm going to say right now, Chris Dortch pretty much murdered that whole thing.
I mean, he was. I don't know. Kimmy Shield.
I don't know. Kimmy was good.
Thank you.
I love her to death forever.
Love you.
Guys, let's make this a competition. Who thinks that Chris did the best job? Raise their hands.
No.
Which
No.
Chris?
No.
We got two Chris's. We got
true.
Devlin and Dortch.
I'm gonna go with,
Is there a
I'm gonna
reason
go
to
with both
specify?
Chris's. I'm gonna go with both Chris's.
I gotta say,
It's not Dortch.
Chris Devlin, your characters are great. Fun times, man.
Devlin brought it home.
Yeah, I just Kimmy Shield is for me. Also,
That's very nice.
Wait.
Also,
Who thinks
Conor,
Dave
our
Lawson was the worst?
Yeah.
I'm always the worst. Alex, by the way, on the YouTube chat, everybody really appreciated the expressions you were giving.
Oh, I can't hide it. I'm glad that worked out.
Oh, it worked out real well.
I gotta say, I was appreciating those as well.
Oh, thanks, guys. I got a lot of opinions on my face.
I'll be honest, I didn't see any one of you for the entire read because I was looking
I'm
at
the
script.
man behind the mask.
I think this is a great time to just cut this feed.
Yeah, I thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell anybody, and remember, if you're out there and you have a tight jean crotch, it's gone wild.
No,
If you're wearing pants at home, you should stop.
Dismount.
I'm just
Whether
gonna
you're a man,
I'm
a woman, however you identify, if you've got a tight jean crotch, tune in same time next week.
You're doing quarantine wrong.
We salute
Stare
you.
at it
I'm
for
doing-
hours.
Yes, you're right.
God damn it. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.